Hey world, welcome back and welcome to the Recovered Files with your one and only host, Mackenzie Taylor. You already know what it is. If you are listening, if you are tuning in right now, if you haven't heard, we're visual. So if you're watching on the YouTube platform, big shout out to you. Thank you all so much for your support, and I cannot wait to catch you over on the next episode of the Recovered Files. What's up, y'all? How are we feeling today? You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling good. I'm excited to dive into this file that I got for you all today. Today is for the hustlers, it's for the high achievers, okay? It's for the nerds out there, and it's possibly for the people who kind of need a fire up under their butt, too. You know what I'm saying? So, today's file is File 12, being a student of the game. All right. And it's not just a reference of like the TV show The Game, but if you know, you know. Today's file, we are going to be diving into everything about what it means to honor your vessel and also have your own hustle about you, whatever the case may be, and however that'll show up, right? All right. So, in this case for student of the game, I do want to talk about how this epiphany came to me, right? I have this saying where if school was free, I'd always be in school. Now, I kind of self identify as a nerd a little bit. I love being taught, you guys. I love learning. I love being in a classroom setting. I feel like that's where I can thrive the most. And if anyone has knowledge to share with me, I'm definitely going to be that person to soak it all in and then use it for my next experience or whatever the case may be. But with talking about being a student of the game, it's all about just knowing what your game is. And my experience, I'm talking about being a student of the game when it comes to my career. So for those who don't know, I have decided to pursue a career in the entertainment industry. That is where I thrive. So yes, you see me here. I podcast, but I also act. And I also want to translate those skills into public speaking. I want to translate that into presenting anywhere where I can be in community and I can share my art and storytelling and just have a back and forth and bouncing off of people. That is my bread and butter. That is where I thrive. That is where I am the most happiest. But with that being said, it's not the most conventional career. It's not the most conventional avenue to explore. So let's get into that, right? So I do kind of want to transition this back to post grad. Post grad and also being in school, because when we talk about being a student, first and foremost, when you are in school for such a long time and you decide to go to secondary, get more education, regardless of what degree you get into, you still have a foundation and you still have a structure that is given with school, right? You have deadlines, you have assignments, you have expectations that are set of you. And because you have all of these things aligned, that, things have got to get done. And with that being said, we're going to talk about that transition going into post grad, where when you're outside of school and you're fully into adulthood, everything that you decide to do, whether that be for leisure, whether that be for career, whether that be for personal, everything is on you. Everything is on you. You don't want to do it, honey, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. There's tomorrow. And I would say that epiphany definitely kind of struck me, because when you do make that transition from being in university to coming outside of it, and you have so many options and the possibilities seem so endless, instead of that really being as exciting as it can be, it can also be a little bit overwhelming and chaotic, to say the least, because you have all of these talents and there's so many avenues of where you can go. But what is going to be the best avenue for you, right? The big thing that I have to say is, I feel like with university, especially within my career, you do get lots of advice, you do get lots of suggestions. And I personally felt that to achieve quote unquote success, right? There is a certain way to do it, there is a certain way to go about it. And honestly, I didn't even have the epiphany that within performing arts, there is so many ways and so many avenues to pursue that rather just being one way. And I did kind of feel the pressure of, kind of falling in line and doing things in a certain ABC manner to achieve my success. And when I felt like, maybe I wasn't staying on top of those routines and I wasn't falling into that direct line of this is how you do it, it kind of threw me for a loop. And it has taken me, being in my adulthood, being 2 years removed from grad, that, this is my life. Okay. This is my life for the taking. And however I choose to get to my destination, my chosen field of success, is all upon me. And if I want to change my mind, God forbid a girl change her mind. God forbid a girl like try something else first, like seeing if different shoes fit, whatever is the case. And I just want to go ahead and put that out there and just say that, babe, you can change your mind. And even if you don't change your mind and you want to kind of stick with the same thing that you've done, you don't have to do it a certain way for it to be considered right, for it to be considered successful. And what I had to realize for myself is that the passions, the things that I want out of life, even though they may not feel as easy in grasp because maybe I don't have all of the resources just yet to do it, I can still ground myself and realize and set a plan for myself that makes me, quote unquote, a student of the game. And whatever game you are into, you get what I'm saying? Whatever your career field is, or if you find just the game of the world, because the world loves to play games. We know that. All the adulthoods can attest to that. You know what I'm saying? But whatever your game is, how do you choose to be a student of it? How do you learn how to roll with the punches? How do you learn how to kind of put a barrier between, okay, everything doesn't have to be taken personal, whether I receive a no, whether I receive a not right now, but how can I charge it to the game and make sure that I still have a routine that I stick by, that I still have something that can keep me on the straight and narrow when I feel like a lot of things are coming at me and I'm feeling like a little chaotic and a little bit overwhelmed. But don't worry, your girl Mackenzie has got you. So let's just dive into the things that I've learned and hopefully it resonates. All right. So, with being a student of the game, I did kind of talk about my career in entertainment, and this is what I will say, right? Because I always knew, even when I was younger, before I fully dived into it, that it was an unconventional career. And anything that is unconventional is going to come with hustle. It has to come with the grit of going after it. And it's the type of going after it where you actually have to stay ahead of the curve because you don't want to get into something and you're like, oh my gosh, this is going great. And then that thing ends. And that's typically a lot with the entertainment industry. You can have one project that you're on that you're doing really well with, and it's okay to be caught in that moment. It's okay to live presently, but also you still have to have in the back of your mind, okay, what's the next thing? And what is going to propel me forward? And what's going to keep me on this momentum and this track? And I feel like within storytelling specifically and the performing arts realm, the reason why I identify and I love it so much is how much introspection comes within that career. Even like with the recovered files, you all, like, for example, with me going through these files, recalling them back, speaking them out loud and kind of putting them out for conversation, that comes with so much introspection because it's like, okay, I cannot be the only person that is feeling this way. I cannot be the only person struggling with this. And once you kind of take all of that pressure and that burden off of you, then it becomes so much more easier, and it's not much of a fear or kind of like an opponent that you have to face. And I want to analogy this, and I'm trying to think what would be the best way to do it, right? Let's say a marathon, right? When you are a part of a marathon, you know that you have a long distance that you're about to cover, and you know that it's not about necessarily how fast you compete against the next person, but how you accomplish your own personal time and your accomplishment, right? But let's kind of take a step back from that. If we are going to compare this to a marathon, being a student of the game, everyone has to be on the same page. And stay with me, that the marathon doesn't just start at the marathon. When you get your number and you have people on the sidelines rooting for you and supporting you, it comes with those 10,000 hours that nobody else sees. And this is the gem that I want to share. Get in on your Zoom. Get on your Zoom. Get on your Zoom. And what does your 10,000 hours look like? Right? And I even want to relay this for the people listening who may not feel like, okay, I'm not really good at being a student. I actually dread that. This is how you can still apply this principle, right? Because it's not about just doing something in a format and in a specific way. You have to look within yourself. You have to find your niche and be like, okay, what is fun for me? How is this routine going to look for me? Because how I prepare for a marathon may not be the same way that you prepare for a marathon. My 10,000 hours are not going to be your 10,000 hours. But at the end of the day, 10,000 hours is 10,000 hours. You follow? Yeah, yeah, okay. And so for me, when I really came upon that, I'm like, you know what? I know that as Mackenzie Taylor, I work better with a structure. I work better with a routine. And when I have things lined up for myself that kind of feels back to back, it makes me feel like hungry for that productivity, because I'm like, oh my gosh, nobody can touch me. I am on a roll. I am feeling the most confident when I have a routine, when I have a structure where I feel like I'm just not letting any time pass by or anything kind of like get around me, right? And with that being said, I had to realize and talk to myself truly and be like, okay, Mackenzie, now that you're outside of university that already kind of had this structure pre-built for you, you are in the wild with adulthood. Everything that I choose to do is on myself, because there's no one that is going to come behind me and be like, oh, did you make sure that you did that like you said you would? No one's coming to do that. So if I can say, okay, I know I need to be in a good headspace. I know I need to be feeling happy. I know I need to be feeling confident to get these things done that I want to do. Then I have to set that routine up for myself where I can feel confident and say that, hey, this is what I'm cultivating for you to feel like a student, but I don't want to put the pressure and the burden on you of like, it's do or die, because ultimately when you are being a student of the game, it is going to take longevity no matter what career you're in, and you need to have something that is really going to make you enjoy the process so you don't get burnt out, so you don't, have to forfeit and quit your marathon. And bringing it back to the analogy of the marathon, like I said, once I had those 10,000 hours and I'm like, I'm good to go, I am about to run this marathon, I get my number, you are going to have the people on the sidelines who are supporting you, who are making you feel great, who are going to say, keep going, keep going, keep going. And you have to realize that even if you slow down, even if you have to take a little bit of a water break, realize what those things represent for you and what they realize. Because when I slow down, I actually get time to, one, catch my breath. All right, you're doing good. You're keeping pace. But remind yourself what you're doing this for. Like, you want to get to this finish line. What is on the finish line? What's at the finish line? And why is it so important? And why is it so necessary that you make it there? Hmm? Because it just can't be for a medal. It can't just be for something that is going to be like minimal. It has to be something that is going to push you no matter how hard things get for you to get to that finish line. And it's so important that even if I'm slowing down and I'm stopping for a water break in a marathon, keep in mind there's other people around you that are running the same type of race that you are, but please don't get that confused with y'all are running the same race. That's not the case. It's just the type of race. So if I put myself in the entertainment industry, I put myself within my career and I use that as a marathon. If I slow down, yeah, I'm definitely going to look to my left. I'm going to look to my right. I'm going to be aware of my surroundings. And I might just end up being in community with someone else who can also be like, oh my gosh, I relate with this. I relate with this. Resonate with this also like you. So you never know when you have those slow moments what those necessarily mean. And I just want to encourage for anybody listening, when you have to slow down, when you have to pace yourself in whatever it is, please do not be hard on yourself and use that as something to knock yourself down just because you're trying to be on this fast move track and you're just trying to get it done. Because ultimately, outside of just being a student of the game, life is all about the present moments. We're all going to get old. We're all going to get to quote unquote the finish line. You get what I'm saying? But it's about the moments, especially when you're looking back about how you did it. How'd you get through it? Who did you meet? What did you discover about yourself? So make sure to take in those moments just as much because they are valuable and those are going to be the same factors that are going to push you closer and closer and closer to that finish line. And I do want to kind of circle this back to myself a little bit in terms of my personal experience with being a student of the game and what I said before of you have to get really, really niche with yourself about what does my routine, what does my student of the game playbook look like? And for myself, I would say, I'm like, okay, Mackenzie, there are a ton of routes you could go, but what do you think is going to be the best for you? And I'm like, all right, well, I know I love conferences. I love, like I said, being a student, like seeing panels and, hearing people's feedback, sharing that within a community, having a Q&A and kind of bouncing off of, the people that are in the room. I also love festivals. I love being exposed to all different types of art and things that I wouldn't, just off my preferences, maybe I wouldn't choose that first, or maybe I wouldn't choose that second, but it's still there in abundance for me to decide, okay, well, like, let me check it out. Like, let me figure out something new. And that leads me into being like, oh my gosh, I would love to do public speaking. I mean, why not? I get to be around people. I'm a yapper, hence the podcast. And I get to be in different, like, communities with people. And sometimes conferences and festivals are very niche about what the topic is. I mean, there you go. And so it's like, if I want to pursue this career in entertainment and I am in it for the long run, why would I limit myself to only one avenue of exploring it? And I just want to encourage that message out to other people of like, there, of course, are many things to do, but there's different ways to do it. When you go down the block and you see a grocery store or you see a hair supply or you see a nail salon, they come a dime a dozen. But just because that's the point of it all, you know what I'm saying? There is room for everyone. So, how you decide to go about something and how you decide to pursue it is your journey alone, and that is something that is unique. It cannot be duplicated, and that's something to celebrate. And when you realize, okay, this is a game, this is, there's certain things involved. I know it's this, I know it's that, but how are you going to show up in the space? How are you going to put your little razzle dazzle on it? How are you going to make it yours? And so I do kind of want to, oh my gosh, I kind of love that analogy. But with that being said, in the marathon, it is a honest way to kind of view the journey, especially if you are a long-term thinker and you know that this is a, not just a quick and short process. let's talk about cheat codes, right? And not necessarily that in the best way, right? Because you can't really cheat the game. The game is the game. It's already had its rules in play. It's bigger than you. It's going to be there before you, during you, and after you. So you can't necessarily cheat the system. The system is the system. However, how can you incorporate your own cheat codes to encourage you or to prosper you within the game of it all, right? And my cheat codes I would like to share is that one, rooting for yourself first and foremost. If there's anybody or anything that is going to be at that finish line, let it be yourself. Let it be yourself, because I guarantee that once you finally get to that point and you find yourself at the finish line, that version of you is going to have, so much more wisdom. They are going to have, more maturity and answers for you that you probably second guess and doubt yourself along the way. And I think that's the person that, you know, that's the vision that you should aspire of. Like, what a beautiful sight to have yourself at the finish line, because it's never like you're always going to be with yourself. I'm trying to like get my thoughts out all the way because it's there, like it's like on the tip of my tongue. But making yourself the prize, how could you lose? In a short and simple way, like for real, like how could you lose? It's you. And I would also say another cheat code. Um, I would say community for sure. Because in a marathon, y'all know it'd be some heads at the marathon. Like it'd be tons of people. And I think instead of thinking of it in the negative way of seeing it as, oh, I may have some competition, or these people are in the same weight class as me, they kind of got the same pace as me, I kind of been neck and neck. Instead of like looking at it in that negative sense, I mean, what a beautiful way to embrace the community and know that, hey, like we may be in the same weight class, but your strengths and my strengths are different. But if they came together, boy, what a powerhouse that would be. And maybe they have a little bit more information or insight or experience with running a marathon that I may not know of. This is my first marathon. This may be their third. So instead of looking at it as competition and seeing a marathon as being a race, because it's not, see it as a thing of like, okay, oh my gosh, I thought I had everything packed. I don't have a water. No problem. I actually got you a Powerade. I actually have an extra one. You want one? Yeah, of course. Like that would be dope. And so learning how to take the factors that are in play, because when you have a game, no matter what type of game it is, there are already factors and preset rules into play. I think reprogramming your mental about how you see these factors that are ultimately going to be in play, that's your advantage. I've already talked about no one's going to do it like you. You're your own unique person. So taking the quote unquote obstacles or the boundaries that may be in play and then rewiring it in your brain to see it as a positive instead of a negative that could possibly be a setback. I mean, that's your Willy Wonka golden ticket, right? And so I'll say this, y'all. It's a game. Life is a game. You get what I'm saying? Or a simulation, however, it's the matrix, how everybody wants to say it, regardless. It's a game. There are things that are set in place. And when you decide to pursue something, whether that be for personal reasons, whether that be for career, whether that be for relationships, love, whatever the case may be, know that how you approach it is everything, and how you set yourself up for success is just as important as the success. If you want to get to that finish line, if you want to get to that accomplishment, how you prepare yourself to get to that accomplishment is just as important as the accomplishment. And once that actually locked into my brain and I realized that, Mackenzie, why are you rushing to success? Why are you hard on yourself that things aren't happening or like popping off for you right now. I mean, what? I mean, why are you acting like you're going against a buzzer beater? There's no one's rushing you. This is your life. This is your experience. And if you know in your heart, if you have this trusted feeling that you will get there and that you will achieve it, then ease up, babe. Ease up. Like it's going to happen. And once I was able to, you all, oh my goodness, this is so emotional. Once I was really able to realize this is mine for the taking. Everything that I want, everything that I dream for myself is possible. And just because I don't do that in a certain timeline, uh that's okay. And I honestly think it was kind of the student in me that was putting a deadline on myself. The irony, right? And once I realized that, you know what, you're not in an institution. You're not turning this in for a grade. You're not, you know, like this isn't an audition. You're not like about to be chosen, like yes or no. And if you get told no, it's just a not yet, right? It's not that deep. Like it's fun, it's lighthearted. Let it go and just be yourself. And I will even say that, like referring back to the hiatus and file 11 of like, I came back, I showed up, and that's all you can do. So if you are resonating with this, I just want to send a big, big, big shout out to you once again and just tell you that, you know, I'm on your side and I'm so curious to hear how you all are resonating with this specific topic because whether you're around my age, you're in my career, or whether you're not, like, how just being a student of the game, is this something that you all process for yourself? Have you given yourself a routine? Do you have to abide by like a structure to make sure that you can stay on top of your hustle and that you don't burn out? Let's talk about it. And don't forget, you can follow the conversation afterwards at the Instagram at the Recovered Files, or we're our YouTube babes. You could drop it down in the comments, and I cannot wait to talk about it. And I can catch you all over on the next episode of the Recovered Files. All right. You know I love y'all. Peace.